Welcome to the Switch Style Podcast, where we encourage you to think beyond what you hear. I'm your host, and I go by the name of Smooth. And audience, welcome back to episode 66 of the podcast. Got a really great show coming up for you guys. But before I jump into anything, I do want to let you know you can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And also, follow me on Twitter at Jack's Journal, and you can also find every episode of the podcast and my written reviews at jacksjournal.com. That's JACS journal.com. So check me out there. But coming up on the show, I'll actually update the Billboard charts for you guys. I'll let you know what's come out this past Friday, July 7th. And last but not least, I'll give you my take on Jay-Z's 13th studio album, which is titled 444. So we'll go ahead and jump into things. So here we go. On the Billboard 200, DJ Khaled scores another one. His 10th album, Grateful, debuted at number 1, earning 149,000 units. Grateful is DJ Khaled's second number 1 album. He earned his first album nearly a year ago when Major Key hit number 1 with 95,000 units in its first week. Imagine Dragons land at number 2 with Evolve. The set earned 147,000 units in its first week. And more news on Imagine Dragons later on. On the Hot 100, Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and Justin Bieber earned an 8th consecutive week at number 1 with Despacito. And also, Imagine Dragons, they land in the top 10 with Believer from their latest album, Evolve, which I told you about earlier, that landed at number 2 on the Billboard 200. Believer jumped from number 11 to number 6 this week, courtesy of boost in digital song sales, streaming sales, and radio play. And one last quick note, Believer is also number 1 on the Hot Rock Songs chart for a 17th week. So congrats to Imagine Dragons, DJ Khaled, and Luis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee, and Justin Bieber for making waves on the charts this week. And I'll go ahead and jump to what's new. So this Friday, July 7th, 2017, look out for new albums from R&B star Sevyn Streeter. She's back with her debut album, which is titled Girl Disrupted. And it's funny, Sevyn has been around for quite a while, but she's finally releasing her debut studio album. So looking forward to that one, and I'll probably talk about that one in the coming weeks. Chicago MC Twista, he returns with his latest album, Crook Country. And country legend Charlie Pride, he's back with Music in My Heart. And last but not least, 2 albums that might be popular this week. 21 Savage, he's releasing It's an Album, and Haim, they're back with Something to Tell You. So look out for albums from Sevyn Streeter, Girl Disrupted, Twista, Crook Country, Charlie Pride, Music in My Heart, 21 Savage, It's an Album, and Haim, Something to Tell You. Alright, so if you're here, you're probably here for this reason and this reason alone. Hopefully you're here to listen to me too. But I do want to give you guys my take on Jay-Z's 13th studio album, 444. But before I do that, before we start, I just like to give you guys a quick bio. I just like to tell you a little bit about the artists and what they've done, where they've come from, and you know, how they got there, and just list a bunch of career accolades, because that's pretty much what I'm going to do with Jay-Z, because he's been around for so long and his story would take all day to tell. So I'll just list a bunch of career accolades and just tell you where he's at right now. So Jay-Z, if you don't know by now, his real name is Sean Carter. He was born December 4th, 1969 in Brooklyn, New York. In the early 1990s, Jay-Z started Rockefeller Records with Damon Dash and Kareem Biggs Burke. And to date, I'll just skip to pretty much the end. His career accolades include 13 platinum studio albums. He has also recorded 5 additional albums, including 2000's The Dynasty Rock La Familia, Unplugged in 2001. He did 2 albums with R. Kelly, The Best of Both Worlds in 2002 and Unfinished Business in 2004. And he did an album with Linkin Park that was titled Collision Course. His biggest hits include Hard Knock Life, Big Pimpin', I Just Wanna Love You, H to the Izzo, 03 Bunny and Clyde, Excuse Me, Dirt Off Your Shoulder, 99 Problems, Empire State of Mind, and many more. He currently has 21 Grammy Awards, and he became the first rapper inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame last month, June of 2017. And to date, he has sold over 30 million in RIAA certified US album sales. So I'm not counting what he's done worldwide. I don't have a specific number. That's why I didn't mention it. But according to some reports I saw out there, he's reportedly sold over 50 million in album sales worldwide. And to date, right now, he's currently worth 810 million. He's coming up on $1 billion, and I'm sure he'll get there at some point. But, if you don't know, he's married to Beyonce. He just had a set of twins last month in June. It's really been a big year for him. His oldest daughter is Blue Ivy, and I think the reported names of the twins are Sir Carter and Rumi Carter. They had a boy and a girl. So, the guy has a very complex life, personally and professionally. He has a lot going on, and when I say complex, that's a good thing, meaning that he has a lot going on. You can't just, it's really hard to sum up Jay-Z's life or career in only a few minutes. But, if you don't know about Jay-Z, get to know him. He's put out a book called Decoded, and, there's all types of information out there on the net. So go check out Jay-Z. But I'll go ahead and give you guys my take on his 13th studio album, which is titled 444. And Jay-Z is actually 47. He'll be 48 later on this year, like I said earlier, December 4th. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Daddy, what's a will? That's not a question you normally get from kids, but it was posed to Sean Carter by his 5-year-old daughter, Blue Ivy, on Legacy. Blue's inquisition could have possibly come after hearing a conversation between her father and a business associate or her equally famous mom. Either way, she sure is asking the right questions. Sean Carter is known to many by his most famed moniker, Jay-Z, but these days, his given name reverberates just as strong. Over the last 20 plus years, we've watched Jay-Z transform from budding rap star to reigning hip-hop king to savvy businessman and now husband, father, and legacy builder. 2017, in a way, is rounding into what could possibly become a defining year personally and professionally for Jay-Z. His streaming service Tidal has struggled to stay afloat since its inception, but received a shot of life when Sprint purchased a 33% share for $200 million in January of this year, 2017. The Brooklyn MC later became the first rapper ever inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in June, and the 47-year-old father then welcomed a set of twins to the family with his wife Beyonce weeks later. Somehow, he found time to record his 13th studio album, 444. The superstar recruited hip-hop savant and newly minted executive vice president of Capitol Music Group, Dion No ID Wilson, to solely produce 444. The duo paired in the past, most notably on the Grammy-winning songs DOA, which was Death of Auto-Tune, and Run This Town. This time around, Jay-Z and No ID have crafted a supremely efficient set of songs that grapple with the sins of Carter's past, financial freedom, and leaving an indelible legacy for generations to come. You know you owe the truth to all the youth that fell in love with Jay-Z. With that statement, he acknowledges that he hasn't always been straightforward with his audience and, more importantly, his family on Kill Jay-Z. He openly addresses shooting his brother, selling drugs to people he loves, dropping out of high school, his worsening relationship with Kanye West, and the now infamous elevator incident with his sister-in-law Solange Knowles. The story of Jay-Z is less about the now disgraced football star, even though he does question OJ's atrocious "I'm not black, I'm OJ" quote. Jay-Z clearly has a problem with the line, but it is telling because he was once a man that contributed to the crumbling of the black community through his drug dealing ways. Instead, he's now providing a how-to manual on becoming financially literate and free. He's more concerned with community preservation, even through the use of illegally gotten funds and investments in real estate and artwork as opposed to high-end vehicles and strip clubs. Jay-Z reveals pride in his mother's decision to no longer hide her sexuality on Smile. And just a quick note, Jay-Z's mother also has 4 children. That includes Jay-Z, but He openly talks about his mother's sexuality on Smile. R&B superstar Frank Ocean, he assists on The Vigilant Caught Their Eyes. Jay-Z makes it very clear that he's careful of the company he keeps. He more than likely became skillfully discerning during his underworld past, but it has served him well throughout his career. The Roc Nation boss detailed his last conversation with Prince before he died. The Purple One and Jay-Z shared similar ideology in that they both sought freedom from a corrupt and unscrupulous music industry. Unfortunately, Prince died with no known will, which led to his estate spiraling out of control. Before Prince's death, he had dealings with Tidal, but it fell apart after his untimely passing. As of now, Prince's estate remains in limbo and is partly advised by his former attorney, L. Londale McMillan, who Jay-Z takes a shot at, saying he must be colorblind. They only see green from them purple eyes. And just a quick note, Londale McMillan, he reportedly advised the lawsuit against Tidal and Roc Nation for copyright infringement in November 2016. That lawsuit prevented the streaming service from using Prince's discography, so there's still a lot going on with that, and actually do some research on that if you get a chance. It's a really crazy story what's happening with Prince and his estate since he's been gone. But back to Jay-Z. The album's title track, 444, is a stirring confessional from Jay-Z to his wife. He apologizes for his womanizing ways and admits the shame he will feel if his children knew of his dishonest ways. 444 is a first-rate display of Jay-Z's Hall of Fame-worthy craftsmanship, but it's more likely to score on points where it matters most. It is the album's most conscious clearing moment and properly sets the tone for reconciliation with his wife. Speaking of Beyonce, the superstar supports her husband with backing vocals on Family Feud. He compares his life to that of Michael Corleone from the Godfather trilogy and personally states his billionaire aspiration. The Brooklyn native heads to Jamaica on the cutthroat Bam. Reggae superstar Damian Marley lends a hand while No ID builds the track around Sister Nancy's dancehall classic, Bam Bam. Moonlight references the chaos surrounding the Best Picture Academy Award that was wrongfully awarded to the movie La La Land. Jay-Z calls out his peers' lack of individuality and creativity in the chorus and then continues his lecture on how to change your fate in the music industry. He even takes shots at Lucian Grange and Doug Morris. Audience, if you don't know, Lucian Grange is probably the most powerful man in the music industry. He's the chairman and CEO of Universal Music Group. And Doug Morris, he's the CEO of Sony Music Entertainment and also Jay-Z's former boss. Doug Morris used to hold the position that Lucian Grange holds now at Universal Music Group, and Doug Morris just so happened to be over Universal Music while Jay-Z was the president of Def Jam Records. But back to Jay-Z. He pays tribute to his childhood home, the now famous Marcy housing projects, and New York City borough Brooklyn on the name-dropping Marcy Me. 44's final offering is appropriately titled Legacy. Even though it is voiced through Jay-Z, the rapper, these are the words of the father, husband, and family man Sean Carter. He lays out a plan for his fortune and how it should be divided among extended family, his wife, and children. No ID beautifully incorporates a sample of Donny Hathaway's Someday We'll All Be Free. The sample on Legacy, like all 9 others, were correctly and wisely chosen by the duo. Quick note, Jay-Z is credited as a co-producer on 5 of the 10 tracks, and I was reading an interview that No ID did with Rolling Stone, and he pretty much said that Jay-Z provided him a playlist with a lot of the stuff that he's listening to now, and those became the basis for the samples that were chosen on the album, at least those 5. But back to Jay-Z. For now, 444 is without a doubt the defining moment and album of the latter part of Jay-Z's unmatched career. Sean Carter's former emotionless, womanizing, and flashy days are behind him. The biggest development is his acceptance of his role as a father and husband. Jay-Z has always possessed remarkable business acumen, and he increasingly grows with every business venture. Considering his age, 444 is possibly the most age-appropriate and mature album in hip-hop history. It's an album that shares the wisdom of a man who values family, financial freedom, and self-accountability above all else. those are things we should all strive for. In the story of OJ, Jay-Z offers to give us $1 million worth of game for $9.99. If you're smart, you should probably take his advice now, because it won't be long before we look around and the one dubbed Hove is all of a sudden gone. So there you go, audience. That's my take on Jay-Z's 13th studio album, 444. It's among the best albums I've heard this year. I think it sits right there with Kendrick Lamar's Damn, Run the Jewels, RTJ 3, and a couple more albums. But this is probably the best album of the latter part of Jay-Z's career. It's definitely a really good album. It's a very concise album. It's short. It's very efficient. Only 10 tracks. It plays around 37 minutes. I really enjoyed it. I mean, he drops a lot of knowledge. He drops a lot of jewels in the album, which he normally does. And, you know, I would suggest picking it up. And according to reports, he's already gone platinum. He's gone platinum in less than, 4 or 5 days. So congrats to Jay-Z. He did it again. He put out another solid body of work. And, the year of the music continues to get better. He played his part, and congrats to Jay-Z. Congrats on the album. Congrats on the twins. Congrats on being inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. I mean, he's really doing it, and I'd always say it myself. If I could have anybody's career in rap, it would without a doubt be Jay-Z's. So congrats to Jay-Z, and audience, if you haven't heard it, please go check it out. I would definitely love for everybody to hear it, but if you have any feedback for me, just let me know. Again, you can find the podcast on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And if you want to get in contact with me, just leave a comment on either one of those platforms, or you can email me, switchstylepodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Twitter @Jack's Journal. That's JACS Journal. And also you can find the podcast and my written takes at jacksjournal.com. That's JACS Journal.com. But thanks again, audience, for listening. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you next week. Peace.